My name is Rusty Young. I'm an attorney at Primer, Piper, Eggleston, and Kramer, which is a law firm across northern New England, but my office is in Burlington, Vermont, right on Main Street and overlooking Lake Champlain.
I know you have a couple of things that you like to do up there in Vermont that I think are pretty fun and interesting. If we want to get to know a little bit about you personally, what do you care about? What are you doing for fun out there
Sure.
in Vermont? Yeah.
Well, I love being a Vermonter, and I try to live up to at least some of the stereotypes of us. And so, for that purpose, my family and I make maple syrup in the spring here. So we have an old farm property. We have hundreds of maple trees. We drill little holes, collect the sap, and make Vermont's finest contribution to breakfast.
Tell me something that you learned in your life. I don't know, it could be from your father, childhood, whatever, that you have used as a guide or something that you've learned that you think has been really important in your life. Is there anything you can share us?
Well, my family here in Vermont runs an extremely small bank. Like it was most of the time I was growing up, only one branch. Now it's only two in adjacent towns in rural Vermont. And it was run by my father. It was run by my grandfather, by his grandfather for seven generations. My kids work in there during the summer, and my brother runs the bank now. But my grandfather used to talk about business and would be asked about his longevity of business, if not his like overwhelming success. It's not a household name. The bank is not a dominant player in economics here. But he used to say that if you can treat your customers honestly, make a fair living, and be respectful of the rights your shareholders have to make a reasonable profit, that you'll be successful no matter how big you are. And while there are certainly strategic reasons to grow in a lot of businesses, I think his culture of approaching profit and reasonability in all things and making that business a success over hundreds of years applies to a lot of my clients. Some of them get bent to grow just for growth's sake and fail to recognize that what they're doing, though it may be modest in size, is best addressed at meeting the needs of the customers, being moderately profitable and successful in the long term. And that growth, if it's going to happen, will come from that.
So you've been our attorney for as long as I can remember. I think it goes back decades. As I've mentioned many, many times, I have great respect for you and appreciate all the contributions you've made and helped shape the captive. But you've seen a lot of different captives. Tell me a little bit about what makes Charter Partners unique in your opinion.
I think something that makes it different than a lot of the group captives we work with, and we do work with many, is that it's what we call a heterogeneous group. That is, there are people with different entrepreneurial skills that have come together and had a successful outing as a group captive. And we often tell people group captives need to be based on trust. But to see that trust and to see the common culture across people in some very different industries is one of the things I find most interesting and most intriguing about the Charter Partners community. When we met your brother years ago, he brought with him what is referred to as the Trust Towel, which is a collection of cultural hallmarks shared by those who join the group and embraced for purposes of what goes on at the meetings. And just the fact that it was called a Trust Towel, kind of said to me at the time that this group's going to be successful. But it's very much the way in which the members relate to one another that stands out and makes the group successful. And that extends from the smallest parts of the meeting, things like, somebody holds the door for you when you walk in, all the way up to important decisions where people maintain their calm and respect, where there are a lot of emotions on the table, where there can be a lot of money on the table. And that consistent approach and the culture of respect, of trust, of group involvement, and of thinking about what's best for the group to really stand out.